Let me put the terms to the table. Whatever we discuss here has the power to alter the entire course of your life. And this is not just another motivational video you come across every day. This is my personal life experience that I'm going to talk about. Now, my question to you is, are you ready for this? Because throughout the entire length of this, a lot of myths and beliefs that you hold will come to question. Now, what I mean by that is, have you ever wondered what the reason you couldn't do something is if you don't have enough resources? The reason you have not achieved certain things in life is not that you don't look a certain way, and while I learned these principles while serving in the military, you don't need to go through one of the toughest trainings in the world. And strictly speaking, these values are not something that only applies to people in uniform, no matter what your profession is, how old you are, what country you come from, your race, ethnicity, or caste. Nothing matters. What matters is, do you want to alter your life for the better? And if you are serious about turning your life upside down, stay with me till the end. And if you're not, good luck thinking that the grass is always greener on the other side. So my time at SEAL training left me with these 10 key principles which would make anybody a much wiser person. So are you ready? I guess you are. 1. Little things matter. So back in those training days, every morning our instructors, who were all Vietnam veterans at the time, would arrive at our barracks room and inspect our bed. If you did it perfectly, the corners should be square, the blankets would be pulled taut, the pillows would be centered directly behind the headboard, and the spare blanket would be folded neatly at the foot of the rack. Well, you might think, what a useless task, and also mundane, given the fact that we were enrolled to be true warriors, strong, battle-hardened SEALs. Believe me, I used to ask myself that too, and however, the wisdom of this simple act came back to me numerous times in life. Do you remember any moment from your childhood where you did something tiny like solving a puzzle or building Lego, and it left you feeling so accomplished that you went around your entire house and showed it to everybody? Simply making our bed every morning offered a tiny sense of accomplishment and incentivized us to go for another task until we realized it was at the end of the day and we had accomplished a lot by doing small chores. You see, a big lesson in there. Making your bed will help highlight the significance of small things in life. So, make your bed first thing in the morning if you want to change the world. 2. If you want to go far, go together. So one of our tasks during training was to navigate the surf zone and paddle several miles down the coast. And during winters, the surf off San Diego can reach 8 to 10 feet high and make it extremely difficult to paddle through without everyone digging in. Clearly, not a single man's job. So, all of us were divided into crews of 7 each, 3 men on each side of a rubber boat, and 1 coxswain to steer the dinghy. Every paddle must be synchronized to the coxswain's stroke and count to make sure the boat doesn't turn against the wave and is thrown back against the beach. So the lesson you gain from this is that you cannot change the world on your own. At every step, you'll require assistance from your friends, from your colleagues, strangers, generosity, and a skilled coach. Find someone to paddle with if you want to change the world. 3. Measure people by the size of their hearts, not bodies. A very popular saying about war, which often relates to all aspects of life, is, never underestimate your enemy. Well, guess what? I learned it the hard way. In fact, not just me, every boat crew during my training did, except one. So our SEAL class, which began with 150 men, and after a few weeks was reduced to just 42, with 6 to 7 crews left, I was in the boat with the big guys. Yet our greatest boat crew was made up of little guys. The Munchkin crew, as we recall them, had everyone less than 5 feet 5 inches, and to everyone's amusement, they outran, outpaddled, and outswam all other boat crews. All the other crews used to poke fun of these little flippers at the starting line, but at the finish line, these little boys from all over the world had the final laugh, going faster than everyone and reaching the shore while the rest of us were fighting for the second position. One thing I realized that day: nothing matters, not your skin color, ethnic background, education, or social standing, but your determination to succeed. So if you want to change the world, measure people by the size of their hearts and not their flippers. 4. Accept the things you cannot change and move forward in life. So, several times a week we had this routine uniform inspection by our instructors, very comprehensive. Our hat had to be precisely starched, our uniform neatly pressed to our belt, and the buckle shining and smudge-free. But no matter how much effort we put into it, it just wasn't good enough. And there's the thing about the military: when you are not par excellence in something, it doesn't go unnoticed. Consequences are always there. So failing this uniform inspection meant we had to sprint into the surf zone fully dressed, get drenched from head to toe, and roll around on the beach until completely buried in sand, and spend the rest of the day in our uniform, cold, damp, and sandy. The drill was known as sugar cookie. Some simply couldn't accept the fact that all their efforts had been in vain, that no matter how hard they tried, the uniform went unnoticed. And let me tell you, those students never completed training. They had no idea what the drill was actually about. The truth is, we were never going to make it. We'd never have a flawless uniform. No matter how well we prepared, we would wind up looking like sugar cookies someday. It's simply the way things are. If you want to change the world, sometimes you have to stop being a sugar cookie and keep moving forward. 5. Don't be afraid to fail. Basic SEAL training meant long runs, lengthy swims, obstacle courses, hours of calisthenics, and something designed to test your mettle. Every event had prerequisites that had to be met. If we didn't reach a certain time frame or standards, we were invited to a circus after the day. 2 hours of extra calisthenics aimed to exhaust you and crush your spirit, causing you to quit. Nobody desired a circus because it meant you were not par excellence. It meant more weariness and exhaustion for the next day, which could lead to another circus. Everyone made the circus list at some time during SEAL training, and even I did, but something surprising happened to individuals who were constantly on the list. My classmates who did an extra 2 hours of calisthenics came back stronger with every circus. The agony forged inner strength and physical resiliency. So the bottom line is this: in life, there will be a lot of circuses. You will most likely fail frequently and painfully, and it will be discouraging at times and will put your character to the test. But don't be terrified of circuses if you want to change the world. 6. Always face obstacles head first. During my SEAL training, we were given various obstacles throughout the week, but something interesting happened on this day. One of the obstacles, which was a 3-story, 30-foot tower on one end and a 1-story tower on the other, known as the Slide for Life, proved to be the most difficult. We had to climb the 3-tiered tower, then grasp a 200-foot-long rope in between, swing underneath it, and drag ourselves to the other end. Back in 1977, when I joined, the record for this one had been unbreakable for years, until one day this cadet from my class decided to plunge down the Slide for Life head first rather than swing his body underneath the rope. He climbed to the top of the rope and pushed himself forward. It was a risky maneuver, obviously silly, and laden with danger. Failure could have resulted in damage or death. But to everyone's amusement, it only took him half the time, and by the end of the course, he had broken the record. If you wish to make a change in this world, sometimes you have to tumble down the obstacles head first. 7. Learn to deal with the sharks if you want to finish the swim. Now, I don't mean literal sharks here, something that we had to do. So, San Clemente Island is like a breeding ground for the great white shark. We were flown out there and supposed to perform long swims with one in the nighttime during our land warfare phase of training. Scary, right? But before the swim, our instructors used to tell us about every single shark species that lived here and how no cadet had ever been eaten by one. Well, at least not that they could remember. And that was scary. Anyway, we also trained that if a shark begins to circle our position, never swim away, and if it darts at you, summon all your strength and power and punch it in the nose, and it will swim away. And trust me, this is easier said than done, but another lesson in life there. So if you want to change the world, always face the sharks in your life like the Navy SEALs do. 8. Find your darkest times with composure, not desperation. So one of our frequent responsibilities during training was to launch undersea attacks on hostile shipping. A pair of SEAL divers were dropped outside an enemy harbor and were supposed to swim nearly 2 miles underwater using just a depth gauge and a compass to reach the target. Nothing but darkness all around, but there are some lights that keep coming, but as you reach your target and get closer, the light fades. The goal was to swim beneath the ship and locate the keel, centerline, and deepest point of the ship. But this was also the darkest area of the ship where we couldn't even see our hands in front of us. The machinery was deafening, and the chances of disorientation and failure is maximum. Every SEAL understood that being calm and composed under the keel during the mission's darkest hour was essential because all of our technical abilities, physical strength, and inner strength must be applied at this time. The bottom line is, if you want to change the world, you must be at your best even in the darkest of times. 9. Optimism can alter the world. The toughest week of training is known as Hell Week. 6 days of no sleep, continuous physical and emotional torment, and one beautiful day in the mudflats, a location between San Diego and Tijuana, a swampy patch of ground where the mud will swallow you. It was nothing less than hell. It was Wednesday of Hell Week. My training class was ordered into the mud for some gross rule violation, but we paddled down to the mudflats and spent the next 15 hours attempting to survive the bitter cold, howling wind, and constant pressure from the instructors to quit. The mud swallowed each man until there was nothing visible but our heads. It was the teacher's instruction that we could get out of the mud only if 5 of us quit. Looking around the mudflat, it was clear that some kids were prepared to give up. Almost 8 hours left until the first ray of sun, 8 more hours of bone-chilling cold. The trainees' chattering teeth and shivering moans made it difficult to hear anything else. Suddenly, a voice began to resonate across the darkness. A voice raised in song. Although the song was horribly out of tune, yet was performed enthusiastically, and in no time everyone was singing along. We were threatened with extra time in the mud if we wouldn't shut up, but the singing persisted. And the dirt seemed a little warmer, and the wind a little calmer, and morning not so far away. If I've learned anything from my travels across the world, it's the strength of optimism and the power of individuals like Washington, Lincoln, King Mandela, and even a small Pakistani girl named Malala Yousafzai. Giving people hope can alter the world. So if you want to change the world, start singing while you're up to your neck in the mud. 10. Every day will be difficult, but never quit. There was a brass bell that hung in the center of the compound for all trainees to witness. All we needed to do was give up. Ring the bell to quit, and we no longer have to wake up at 5 a.m. Ring the bell, and we no longer have to be in the cold swims. Ring the bell, and we no longer have to complete the runs, obstacle course, or physical training, and no longer have to bear the difficulties of training. To leave, simply ring the bell. If you want to make a difference in the world, never ring the bell. It will be difficult. Each day, begin with a finished task. The takeaway is this: in life, find someone to watch your back, to guide you through a tough time. Life isn't fair to all of us. And if you just step outside your comfort zone and get your hands on something, you'll most likely fail, but you shouldn't give up. Because tough times create strong people, and this will only make things easy for your upcoming generation. And that's it for today's video, and we hope you liked it. Don't forget to come again for your daily dose of motivation. And thank you.